Welcome to episode 3 of Low Key Track. My name is DJ V, your host, and today we're going to discuss another popular album from 2024, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess from Chappell Roan. For those that are listening to the podcast for the first time, essentially what this podcast is I take a look at the least streamed song or the low-key track of an album and try to figure out why that is. So with today's episode, I'm going with Chappell Roan. So for those who don't know who Chappell Roan is, she's a singer and songwriter originally from Willard, Missouri. She had initially signed to a record deal in 2017 up until about 2020. Her single Pink Pony Club, now an incredibly successful song, especially with the SNL performance, didn't perform as well as expected. But she blew up in actually 2023 and continued her rise in 2024 with this album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, and has now become an incredibly prominent voice in pop music. So much like Tyler, the Creator's Combracopia, and Brad from Charlie XCX, I saw a lot of buzz for this album online. Saw a lot of TikTok, Instagram, YouTube videos about this album. You know, it's clear that it's incredibly inspired by like 80s pop music, and it's very much geared towards a specific demographic. And I think it is a really, really good album. I think it hits on all the right notes. It's incredibly bold. It's incredibly outgoing. And it's incredibly confident. And I thoroughly love everything to do with this album. So going into it, want to talk about Kaleidoscope specifically. So it has about 48 million streams as of this recording, compared to Hot to Go, which has about 517 million streams. I'm taking this from Spotify specifically because that is just what I use to listen to music. So still an incredibly successful song, but why is it the low-key track? Well, this is just what I think. So the first thing that I want to talk about specifically about this song and this album is that it's very upbeat in nature, has a lot of melody surrounding it, and it is incredibly, incredibly anthemic. So what I mean by that is that there's a lot of great catchy hooks, there's a lot of fun lyricism, and there's a lot of just really, really outgoing and brash and just incredible displays of confidence and displays of just Chappell being herself and being who she really wants to be as opposed to what she was, which is what she talks about a lot on this album. She talks about spending times in the suburbs and just being in relationships with men, and ultimately it wasn't her. And then she began to embrace with the music and with this persona a bit of a more drag queen aesthetic, and moved to California and is now in a relationship with a woman. So she's fully embraced being herself, and she's fully embraced being a powerhouse of pop music. Specifically with Kaleidoscope, the first thing that immediately points out to me is that it's a slower ballad. So the majority of this album is just high-energy pop tracks. You could put this on at any sort of pop party, any sort of pop DJ set, and the tracks would hit. But Kaleidoscope is not that. It is a ballad. It's slower, it's heavier, it's something you want to listen to just like in your room, staring out the window, thinking about what you could be. The song itself covers a lot heavier of a subject matter. And it does fit with the rest of the album, because the ultimate point of the album is that you want to be yourself, you want to embrace what makes you happy, and you want to escape an environment that you don't necessarily agree with as a person. By that I mean, like, if you are different, if you feel like you're just a different person than what your environment allows you to be, then you need to find a way to change your environment. She does fight with this on the album, though. She does talk about things like, you know, that she misses like a lot of her time in Missouri and that California wasn't for her. So there's definitely a bit of a battle here internally for her between embracing this aesthetic that she is and then also missing a lot of what she loves about her hometown. But specifically with Kaleidoscope, the subject matter of the song is that she's talking about something that's incredibly relatable, which is confessing feelings for somebody who doesn't necessarily reciprocate it. So a lot of the song just goes through like her emotions and her expressing that feeling of like, well, shit, I told you I love you, and you don't think about me that way, and that's a lot to deal with. So And she specifically says that love is a kaleidoscope, meaning that how it works, I'll never know. So, I don't think the general person doesn't know how a kaleidoscope works, and she just compares love to that. So that, I think, is a big reason of why this song is the low-key track, is that it doesn't hit on those same notes of just immediate pop catchiness, radio-friendly 80s aesthetic, and it opts for something that honestly you could see someone like Adele singing. Like, it's very much a slow piano ballad, and it's a lot more of a showcase of Chappell's vocals than some of the other tracks, because this is like much more reliant on her singing ability, and she doesn't necessarily have a lot of the tools and resources that pop music utilizes to help a singer achieve a certain sound that they want to have. And the other thing that I think leads Kaleidoscope to not be as popular as some of the other songs in the album is, well, TikTok trends. Music is just consumed through TikTok and social media nowadays, and songs are just attributed to dance routines or attributed to just thirst traps or skits. There's so many different ways that people connect music to just different things, and Kaleidoscope is pretty much not attached to any of this. I went through TikTok and I looked at some of the videos that Kaleidoscope is attached to, and it's basically just Chappell Roan fans being like, oh my god, when you normally skip over Kaleidoscope, you decided to listen to it. And it's just people crying like, oh, why is this so so heavy compared to some of the other songs? And ultimately I find it very, very very cool that they're connecting with the song, or that they're listening to it the first time. And I think personally, if I had to be honest, as a hot take, Kaleidoscope is my favorite song on the album. The reason I say that is because, first of all, I think the songwriting is just very indicative of the potential that Chappell Roan has and what she can climb to as an artist. With, Hot to Go, with Phenomenon, with Red Wine Supernova, with even like some of the tracks that are not on this album, like, Good Luck Babe. Great pop songwriting, but it is still pop songwriting at the end of the day. And, it relies on catchy hooks, it relies on certain rhyme schemes, it relies on familiar melodies, and you can create an escapist form with this, if that makes sense. And with Kaleidoscope, this is Chappell getting more vulnerable, actually similar to when I talk about it in episode 1. I think about it all the time. And it's her embracing her vulnerability and talking about something that is near and dear to her, which is the fact that she confessed her feelings for somebody and they didn't reciprocate. They didn't want to be a part of this. And she lets it all out. And I really enjoy that about the song. And I do think it's a very good addition to the album in general. So these are the reasons why I think that Kaleidoscope is the low-key track of The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. Of course, this is your personal favorite song like me on the album. That's awesome. If it isn't, that's also great too, because ultimately music is building a connection with yourself at a deeper level, creating healthy ways to express yourself, and just helping you as you navigate life with, sometimes you just need a good catchy pop song. So thanks for listening to episode 3 of Low Key Track. This is available wherever you get your podcasts, and you can follow me on social media at Low Key Track. I also DJ at the Fake DJ V, so you can follow that to hear some cool mixes. Maybe I'll put in some Chappell Roan stuff in the near future. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, every color of the rainbow, don't be afraid to hold it close.